Yes, I needed to make this video to explain why Candyman 2021 is the best urban legend movie of all time. Yes, Candyman 1992, it was a good film too. Yet, the new and improved version of Candyman is wonderfully shot, with depth, with focus, and to be honest, it's a better storyline. While Candyman 1992 can easily be considered a cult classic, both iterations of Candyman pack a hefty punch. A punch that extends way beyond psychological thrillers and jump scares in typical horror films. Yes, my friends, Candyman takes more of a mystical approach with a great deal of hidden meaning and messages that I am going to discuss in this video, so please stay tuned. You know, I never really got into the whole Jason versus Freddy Krueger thing. Come on, guys, the whole premise is just silly. It's almost like Chucky's Revenge or Chucky and his new girlfriend go on a killing spree. I mean, these kind of movies lean more into camp and sensationalism, and they don't really have a good plot, they don't have a solid premise, and there's no hidden messaging or subliminal meanings. Truth be told though, Freddy Krueger and Candyman have much more in common than you think. And if the Hollywood machine is looking for another mindless blockbuster, well, I think Candyman versus Freddy Krueger might be a great idea. But on second thought, I don't think that Candyman would go over well. Candyman actually has a lot of layers, and he puts a great deal of thought into his killing. I know Freddy Krueger is just as creative and extravagant, and he has these snarky one-liners that we just can't forget.
Let's get high.
Candyman is just too smooth. He's like Billy D. Williams going out on a killing spree. No, in real talk, Candyman and Freddy Krueger have a lot in common. For one, they are both summoned by their victims. Candyman is summoned, of course, when you say his name 5 times.
Something they used to call Candyman.
And Freddy Krueger invades your dreams when you start to think about him. Secondly, they both thrive on fear and pain. The more fear you have and the more pain you're in, the greater the likelihood of you being gutted alive. Thirdly, they are both conjured up by our collective unconscious minds. Notice that Freddy Krueger never just slays one victim. In fact, he terrorizes an entire neighborhood, while Candyman appeared to get stronger, haunting and hunting the residents of Caprini Projects in Chicago. Both villains are mass murderers, yet they can only survive if people believe in them. After all, they're not called urban legends for nothing. So time and time again, we underestimate the power of money. Money literally has no intrinsic value. We as people give it value by believing in it. And once we believe in it, we believe that it has some kind of magical power over us. As a collective, we've gotten together on a subconscious level and agreed that the almighty dollar or the pound or the euro is a powerful tool, a tool that can either buy us freedom or keep us shackled to a terrible job or keep us shackled into being a wage slave. The point I'm trying to make is that our thoughts are very powerful, just on an individual level. However, when we begin to think collectively, our thoughts and beliefs have a magnifying effect, and those thoughts and beliefs can change the world as we know it. After all, there was no other entity that could take down the Roman Empire, except for, of course, Christianity. It was a resurgence of a powerful spiritual belief that caused this major empire to implode. And the powers that be understood that it was much easier to rule people through thought than force, and thus began the widespread campaign to dominate and try and control people's thoughts. We are indoctrinated from the very moment we leave our mother's womb. We are told what to believe, who to believe, what to fight for, who to love and hate. In truth, we don't have many thoughts and ideas that are truly our own. Or if we have any doubts, we push them way down in our subconscious mind. Only problem is these thoughts have a great deal of power too. And sadly, they become more powerful when grouped together on a subconscious level. And those thoughts can also change the world as we know it. And so, my friends, that is what Freddy Krueger and the Candyman represent. They represent all of our deep-seated pain and trauma and fears that are buried inside of our subconscious mind. Of course, we writers use storytelling to convey this type of messaging, and we use characters as amalgamations of a collective pain and deep-seated fear that we all possess. I know, I told you guys that Candyman was deep. Just look at the imagery that is used throughout this movie. Naturally, much of it is filmed in the Caprini projects, where there is this cluster of lower income buildings. And these buildings house the downtrodden and the cyclically oppressed. Later, it becomes a breeding ground for crime and drugs, along with generational poverty that people can't seem to escape from. This is the reason why the legend of Candyman is upheld, and why the folktales of summoning his presence continued, despite, of course, the obvious consequences. Perhaps this is the worst thing about collective conditioning. Congenial thoughts on a subconscious level are chaotic, unreliable, and they really can't be controlled. The pain is so intense, it's almost like hot lava boiling in a volcano before it explodes or erupts. In Candyman 1992, victims were mere casualties. They were caught in the crossfire of the Candyman's wrath, rage, and pain. While in Candyman 2021, it takes a different turn. William believes that he can control Candyman's anger. He believes that he could direct the Candyman's pain by, of course, targeting corrupt government officials. Was he right? I'm not really sure. I mean, he was successful in bringing the Candyman back to life. He was successful in ensuring that Anthony was going to be a vessel for the Candyman to reside in. And with him bringing back Anthony, William was rewarded by being hooked and gutted. However, it did seem like Brianna was going to be able to control the Candyman and use him at her behest. In fact, that sounds like a really great movie. Bianca is able to control the Candyman and use him to kill all her enemies. Now, that's a movie I would pay to see. I certainly hope Hollywood is listening. What do you guys think? Do you think that Candyman is the best urban legend movie of all time? Please sound off in the comments below.